When we struggle with depression, we stop doing the things that matter to us. You might have noticed that for yourself, like during periods of low mood and lack of motivation, you start to have thoughts like, this isn't worth it, there's no point, and you stop doing all the things that used to give you joy, a sense of connection, a sense of meaning and purpose. And this is where the depression gets you, because when we stop doing the things that we typically enjoy, the things that used to give us meaning, we get even less positive reinforcement in our daily lives, which then contributes to more and more low mood, which then again contributes to even less activities in our daily lives, which is kind of the cycle of depression. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 of the essential activities that are lost during depression, what they are, as well as how we can start to integrate them back into our lives. And this is based on an evidence-based treatment known as behavioral activation that has evidence suggesting that is comparable to medication when it comes to treatment of low mood. So what's important about these activities is that not all of them are lost during periods of low mood, and for some, they might actually increase. So I want you to be thoughtful as you're watching this video about these different types of activities. Which one are you engaging a little bit too little in, what you're engaging a bit too much in, and how we can find a sort of balance to really support our lives in many different ways. So the first activities are activities of pleasure. So these are the activities that give us a general intrinsic sense of joy. They can be things like playing the piano, listening to music. It can be getting a nice hot cup of coffee at your favorite coffee bar. Whatever that might be for you, these are the things that don't necessarily require a lot of effort in the long term to really pay off, but really just things that you typically just enjoy in a day-to-day, the things that in terms of self-care really nourish you. In depression, we experience a symptom known as anhedonia, which is a loss of interest or pleasure in things that we typically enjoyed. So the things that used to give us a lot of joy, like painting or making music, those things start to feel a little bit more dampened. We feel a little bit more blah. And as a result, because they're not as positively engaging anymore, we stop doing them. But the problem is, again, if we stop doing these things that give us any sense of joy, we feel even worse. The next activities are activities of mastery. So activities of mastery are the things that give us a sense of confidence and competence that really help build up our skills. They can be things like doing our homework, learning a new language. It can be learning a new skill or really developing and becoming better at a certain competition that you really enjoy and find a lot of meaning in. All of those things can help develop a sense of mastery in our daily lives, which then makes us feel more confident and resilient to deal with low mood. So traditional protocols really only talk about activities of mastery and pleasure, but there are at least 3 other types of activities that can be really important for supporting our overall mood. And one of these is activities of connection. So unsurprisingly, our relationships and our sense of interpersonal connection really impacts how we feel, and it's the basis of other types of evidence-based therapy, such as interpersonal therapy, where we focus on these interpersonal disputes and life transitions and our connection with other people. So when it comes to activities of connection, there are some things that you can consider as possible ways to form stronger relationships, like, attending a group event and meeting some new people, or calling your mom every evening and kind of having some nice conversations with her. This can really be, again, anything that really creates a sense of connection with other people in a way that feels right for you. So if you're a bit of an introvert and you're not a big fan of going to big parties, that doesn't have to be what you do. It can be just having a one-on-one with a friend for lunch, whatever that kind of feels right for you. So a fourth type of activity are approach activities. So let me explain this a little bit more in its sort of opposite sense. So when we think about the opposite of approach, the opposite of that is avoid. And when we avoid, we're typically not doing the things that we know would be really helpful for us in the long run, for the benefit of this sort of short-term relief. And especially when we're feeling depressed, we're amotivated, we don't feel like doing anything, we especially don't want to do the things that feel kind of painful in the short term, like sending off that email or making that job application or returning a call or booking an appointment. All of those things we kind of put by the wayside to avoid the sort of short-term distress, even if we know it's good for us in the long run. But the problem with these avoidance strategies is that they maintain distress in the long term. This is pretty common in, for example, anxiety disorders, where we're constantly running away from the thing that we fear, like social situations or certain animals or insects. But as a result, we never get to learn that these situations or these people are not as scary as we think and allow for our anxiety to reduce. So just the same when it comes to approach activities, we're really facing the things that we're avoiding. We're sending off that email, we're making that appointment, we're applying for the job, even if it scares us in the moment. And the final fifth activity are activities of meaning. And this is very personal to you. It depends on what your values are. What are the things that are most important to you? So, for example, if my value is creativity, then doing things like writing books or making content would be something that are activities consistent with my values. If my values are associated with family, then spending time with my family and other loved ones would be things I could really think about including into my life. So encourage you to take a moment to think a little bit about what are your values, what are things that are important to you, and what are some activities that help you guide towards that North Star. So as we talked about in the beginning, some of these activities you might already be doing a lot of, like maybe now that you're feeling kind of low, you've been spending a lot more time doing the things that are inherently enjoyable, like watching TV, taking bubble baths, getting your favorite hot drink all the time. But maybe you've been spending a little bit less time with the things that give you a sense of mastery or a sense of connection. So be considerate and thoughtful as to what are some of the activities that you think would give you the biggest bang for your buck, some of the things that have been lost on the wayside as a result of low mood or low motivation, and see if you can integrate them back into your life. So there's a couple of strategies to really make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And the first strategy is to simply start small. You want to make sure that anything that you're scheduling for yourself isn't setting yourself up for failure, making you feel like a failure and feeling depressed afterwards. You want to make sure that it's something that you feel pretty confident that you can do. Like, for example, if you're feeling like a 30-minute walk sounds a little bit too intense right now, but maybe a 5-minute walk around the neighborhood sounds awesome. Or, if I want to play the piano, maybe practicing every day sounds like a bit of a, high stakes kind of challenging situation, then you might go for just a couple times a week and do it for 30 minutes. So whatever helps set you up for success to build that momentum, that's the place you should start. And a second recommendation to really set yourself up for success is to address potential obstacles and make doing the right thing as easy as possible. So for example, if you are planning on taking that walk, you might really place your shoes right next to your desk so that immediately when you're ready to go for that walk, you can just easily transition, or you can come back from work. And the moment that you're back from work, you can kind of say, oh, like instead of sitting on the couch where I might be now kind of like stuck into a state of inertia and I'm feeling really tired, I'm just going to immediately go for the walk right now so that I can really push on through with the momentum before coming back and taking a rest. And if you found this video even mildly motivating, you might even take this momentum and make yourself that hot cup of tea, or do something nice for yourself, or open up that document you've been avoiding and write down a couple sentences so that you get started on the assignment. Whatever it is for you, that can be a really nice way to get started and then be able to continue on from there. Hopefully this was helpful to learn a couple more skills to help support you in your low mood. If you're interested in the role of how thoughts can impact our ability to do the things that we know are right for us, you can check out this video over here or over here. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet, but feel free to take a look. And thanks for watching as always. Take care.